Hello and welcome. This is Best Foot Forward Shoes, the podcast. This is episode 27, and it is our very first in-person episode. We are here with Mr. Jonny Hockey here. Thank you so much for joining me. We are out in O'Gorman Park down here in Alexandria Hills. This is the kind of eastern suburbs of Brisbane here in Australia, and as you can tell, it's a beautiful kind of autumn day, we're going to call it. Nice. It's nice, a nice cool breeze, but we're still, enjoying the outdoors. We've had a lot of rain here in Brisbane over the last.
It's nice to get some sunshine. For those kids have gone too, so that's also rad. But it's just gorgeous weather at the moment.
Just put your.
Oh yeah, sorry. My bad.
That's all good. No, all good. We are. This is as I said before, this is a brand new kind of experience having a in-person podcast, and very thankful to everyone who has watched the most recent episodes. So we're here with Jonny today, just to basically have a chat about your kind of journey as an Australian sneakerhead. I have had a lot of international guests. I've had a few Australian guests, but it's something that kind of people overseas don't really understand is the kind of sneaker game in Australia, so to speak, is largely dominated in your eyes by TNs. It's kind of the thing that you're most into.
I love TNs.
First of all, we'll have a chat about what is actually on feet today. I'll put a shot of them later in post, but you've got the TNs on there. Give us a little bit of a rundown about these ones.
Yeah, these ones are just the MX Plus Smokes, I think they call them.
Yep.
They're pretty much one of my go-tos, so they're pretty beaten at the moment, but they're always reliable and just comfy as hell. So
nice.
Loving them.
Yep, very nice. And you've got we'll preview a couple of other shoes that we're going to have a chat about, which are some of Jonny's favourite shoes. But myself, I've got the Asics Gel Light 3s, the collaboration with Up There Store from Melbourne. I thought, Asics April is kind of the theme at the moment, so I thought I'd keep that theme alive and wear some Asics. They're an interesting feeling shoe. I don't know how many Asics pairs you have, but
I haven't had any yet.
This is very different. This is an old school style of Asics shoe. It's not kind of the runners that like the 1130, the 2160, which you might think about when you think of Asics in 2025.
Yeah, for sure.
Very old school kind of feel.
I tried to get these when they dropped, and then from the Asics store directly, and then I got an email 3 or 4 weeks later being like, "Oh, we have no 13s left. Sorry."
Yeah, the sizing is hard. The sizing is definitely hard because I have worn them in, but initially they did feel very tight, and of course you've got larger feet. I'm only a size 9, so I kind of have the luxury of having shoes that kind of fit me a little bit better and more range. Yourself as a 13 would be hard to find shoes that are your size.
It's not great. I'm just always jealous of my girlfriend because every time we go sneaker shopping, because she can go the kids section. So 3/4 of the store is perfect for her, and I've always got to be like, "Do you have any 13s?" Like, "Yeah, we have a few." And I'm like, which ones? And then it's usually nothing that I'm looking for or too interested in. So
fair enough. Well, what have you, when you do go sneaker shopping, what sort of shoes have you been kind of interested in looking at?
I've been really interested lately. Again, I had a big phase of these as well, 2 or 3 years ago, but just MX90s.
Okay.
I've just been, I don't know what it is. I'm just really into that silhouette at the moment. So I've been, loving a few of those. I've been rocking the iron grey ones, so they're just black and grey ones that I've got at home. They're my other just local, beaters that I just wear whenever I'm not doing anything too fancy or whatever. So I've been looking at a lot of them lately, and there's a bunch of TNs coming out soon that I'm pretty keen for too. So
nice.
Yeah,
I think in that same sort of vein, I've been really digging a lot of 95s.
Oh yeah, it's
pretty much since the Mr. Stash collab came out.
I remember
the blue one. They had the Armor Manier 95s that came out that I was really hoping to get, but didn't get any of those ones, and now the resale prices of them are a little bit out of range. But I have seen a bunch of nice ones at JD Sports. A couple of nice colorways have hit local boutiques, like your subtypes, that sort of thing. And I've just been really liking the 95 lately. I mean, it's literally 30-year anniversary of the 95.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I was actually born in 1995, so it's kind of it's a nice kind of tie-in. You've got the 40 years of Jordan 1 and the 30 years of 95. So I've really been liking the 95s lately. But we're going to have a little chat about some of the sneakers that you have. On you at the moment. Basically, I asked Jonny to, wanting to show some of his favorite pairs. We're kind of. I can kind of think of this as almost profiling an Australian local sneakerhead.
Pretty much.
As I said before, I've kind of been chatting to people across the other side of the world, and so it's kind of nice to just be in the flesh and actually seeing some of the shoes which you've got, which they look sick. So first of all, do you want to start with the fire orange, those TNs there?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I love TNs. I used to hate them like well, not hate them, just not be a fan of them because my old housemate, he's like from Western Sydney, so full just lad. He loves TNs, and I would always just make fun of him for it at the time. Yeah. And then a few years ago, I forget which pair I saw, but I was like, dude, those are sick. And then I just got into them. Yeah. But yeah, this colorway is one of my favorites. Yeah. Volcano, I believe they call it.
Volcano, yeah. Yeah. And it's more of a printed on. If you want to show it to the camera there, so it's more of a almost printed on style. It's not so much like when I first saw it, I thought it was like the plastic that you would usually see on a TN, but it's actually just a one piece kind of canvas or synthetic material with the design actually drawn onto it, which is an interesting sort of throwback.
Yeah, and the other thing I noticed too, like with that design, it sort of seemed, at least the pairs I was looking at in store, like each one seemed different. Yeah, if they weren't all the same sort of design on there. I could be wrong about that. My eyes could just be lying to me, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. So yeah, that was also rad. I was like, oh, so basically each shoe's pretty specific. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, that's rad.
That's nice. And you also got the patent leather on the back there and the front, like that. Yeah. It has that kind of, I suppose, matte, not shiny finish on the sides, and then it has the matte
at the front, which is
it has the shiny, glossy plastic on the front and the back.
Which is cool. A nice touch, and same with on the heel as well. So
yeah, definitely got some wear out of those. I can see.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I love this pair. Well, all the ones I have been worn pretty heavily, as you can probably just tell, just glancing at them. But
nice.
These are go-to as well.
I think the first pair of TNs I got was the Air Max Plus was last year. The drift pairs. They kind of have like a really large, I guess, it's kind of like a plasticky, rubbery shell.
True.
And those, I actually have sold them on because I just couldn't. If I'm going to go and get another pair of TNs, it's going to be one of these sort of ones because they were like super uncomfortable and super heavy. Whereas these, if I can hold it, for a 13, like that's pretty light. Like that's something you could wear all day.
Yeah, for sure. Like
the one that I got, it was a little bit how do I describe it? Someone said they're not really TNs. Yes, they have the Air Max Plus, the name, but they're not really TNs.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've heard that too. I still consider them TNs, but like I can see that point of view as well. Yeah.
So there's that pair, and then we also have another pair. I'm not sure the colorway, but it has that. I actually really like this red pair you've got here. The one thing I do love about like TNs and that kind of like that style is the gradients. Like I'm a big fan of gradients, and you can see there, you've got the nice red at the top. But what kind of makes these one of your favorites?
I just love red. Like red and black are my two favorite colors. So anything that's like breads, I'm a massive fan of. Like I got a pair of the Jordan 1, the patent breads and just the full shoe in that, which I love, hard to wear, but just the red, anything I just love. So the red sort of took me away with these, and I just like how the red also, the way it fades out into the white on the side there, I think it just looks really nice, and it's done pretty well as well. So
nice. And the little, it's not exactly a mini swoosh, but it's it's obviously much smaller than you would see in a Jordan or something like that.
Well, I feel like it's a great size for the shoe, So
if you want to hold that one up to the camera, it really does fit the shoe. And I mean, people watching who might be in America and don't quite understand what like the, I suppose, TN culture kind of is.
These are dirty.
Like they are a bit
I should have cleaned them, mate.
They are a bit beat, but that's cool, man.
I thought about when I got here, I was like, damn.
It's all good. It's all good. Oh, well. But I have chatted to some people who are from the UK and they have this similar sort of TN culture. What's something, I guess we'll go a little bit deeper because those are the 3 TNs that you've brought. What would you say to people who only consider TNs as almost like a lad esche kind of criminal kind of culture? What would you say to people who, stay away from them because of that?
I think it's a bit stupid. I have been like profiled for wearing TNs, like at certain shopping centres. I've had interactions with police officers, like, shops are complaining of you. They're like, you got tattoos and you got TNs on, and I was like, I know I look rad, but like, so what? Like, what's the problem? And then they'll be like, sorry, we're asking you to leave your, trespass for the next 3 months or whatever it is.
Right.
So I think it's a bit stupid to just sort of categorize everybody into that one, thing. It's just like, everyone who wears this is a criminal. Like, that's like absolutely ridiculous. So I think it's a bit silly, but each to their own. I love them, so I don't care if nobody buys them because I was like, there's more 13s for me to get when I need a pair. So
fair enough. Fair enough. I think that there is almost a second thought sometimes when
For sure.
There are certain situations where like I wanted to wear a pair and my wife's like, oh, are you sure? Like, you sure you're gonna wear that? Like, thinking of like, I don't know, a shopping center or something like that.
Yeah. I had that situation the other day. My girlfriend just has hit 2 years of sobriety, so we went out for like a celebration dinner. And then I was like, oh, what do you want me to wear? Because I didn't sort of know, whether it was smart casual or if it was, dress up or whatever. And she was just like, oh, just, did this, and this, but no TNs. She was like, just make sure to keep the TNs out. And I was like, I wasn't going to wear them anyway. Yeah. But and I can sort of understand that because it was a really nice and sort of fancy place. Yeah. So I was like, I don't think I would have gotten on too well, or at least they would have just had, you would have felt just eyes on you the whole time, which is another thing that happens a lot with wearing TNs, especially if you go to like a local, RSL or something just for dinner. Yeah. It's like everybody sort of like the staff there, I guess may have experienced, people who wear those and aren't exactly the calmest people. Yeah. So you always get those sort of looks and just notice that they are watching you a bit more, but
it is kind of the minority that has kind of ruined it for people in some way.
Like, it has a bit, but it is what it is, man. You just got to deal with it,
Yeah, I think that, you can't control how people, see you, not only for your shoes, but I guess in other ways. Like, if you judge a book by its cover, sometimes you're a bit foolhardy, but anyway, I think they're rad. I think they're awesome. I think the way they look, like, they're not designed to be a symbol of what they have become. They're designed to be like an epic kind of running shoe.
Yeah, sort of just a new way of like comfort in sneakers, because when they came out, whenever it was, like 25 years ago, I think last year, so 26 years ago, that was all, what they wanted to do was just get something that was comfortable and fun, but you could also run in or go to the gym in and work out in. So they've steered quite far away from that, but I'm sure they'll get back to their glory. So just a matter of time, because I've noticed as well a lot of the lads or Eshays or whatever have been wearing Asics a lot more lately. So I think they might be moving on. So hopefully the TN gets left in the dust a bit, and we can.
That's good. I mean,
rebuild its image, I guess, if you want to say.
And then there are other shoes that they have come out, like the DN. I know it's similar, but it has a different kind of feel. It doesn't have the same sort of.
True.
How do I describe it? Like the full length Air unit, it has more of a different. Even the DN8, which has come out, was all with all the 8 bubbles and stuff.
I don't like the bubbles. Hey.
Yeah, I literally did a podcast, which if you have been following the podcast, we did one with Joe from the UK, and we did a tier list, and we spoke about some of the best sneakers that have come out this year.
Yeah, I think I watched that one. Yeah,
and he said that the DN8 was the worst sneaker that's come out this year.
I would agree with that. Yeah. Unfortunately.
So, and he's from the UK, where it has a similar kind of Eshay, I suppose, connotation of wear those sneakers. So,
well, like here, it's sort of blown up in the hardcore scene because I don't know if you saw, but there's a band called Speed from Sydney. Yeah. They sort of, I don't know if they announced it, but I remember they came out with it. It was the first time I saw it, and I was like, oh, true. Yeah. And then just going to local hardcore shows, because that's what I'm into. It's just, you see just DN8s now everywhere.
They did some promotions and stuff.
Yeah, they did a ton for it, which is rad for them. I've got mates, or had mates who were mates with them, but good dudes. Yeah. And it's
in
awesome
that sort of heavy metal scene, what are the shoes that you're seeing kind of out and about?
Mainly TNs are big. I've noticed that, as well as
Vans.
Yeah.
Classic.
Vans are everywhere, man. Yeah. I'm not a fan of them. I don't know why. I just never sort of have been. Even when I was like a little skater kid or trying to be a skater, everyone was like, "Oh, Vans are the best skate shoe," and I was like, "Oh, I just like my Nikes, man. Like my SBs are what works for me." Yeah. But,
I think I wore a couple. I wore them for a little bit. It's kind of like Converse. I feel that like Vans and Converse are like the shoes that you wear as a kid, and they're kind of, you either continue wearing them as an adult or you move. Yeah, you shift move on away. And then the people who wear Converse and Vans as an adult, they're like hardcore, like ride or die.
100%.
Converse are the only thing I wear. Vans are the only thing I wear.
Yeah. I was talking about that with my mate who's a tattoo artist when I was getting tattooed, and he had Chucks on, and I was like, he was like, well, how come I never see you wear these or post these on your Instagram? And I'm just like, man, on me, just with the size of foot I am, they look like clown shoes. Yeah. And it was like, I just remember I used to have just all black ones, which used to always rock because I just always wear all black. So I was like, oh, this works. Yeah. And then I just remember I had a photo with my mum, and I just looked at my feet, and I was like, "Oh my feet look massive. They're clown shoes." And I just was just off them, so I haven't worn them since. But I'm not against them. I'm a fan of them. But the people who seem to just be the bigger Converse fans wear them until there's nothing left on their foot. And just will not listen to anybody else about any other foot or shoe suggestion rather.
Yeah,
which is good to see. It's rad. I like seeing that passion. It's rad.
For me, when I wore them, especially the high tops, they would always bend in a very certain way. And you know, the crease around where your kind of toes meet your foot, it always just creased and broke in that area, and then it started to tear. And so I kind of got sick and tired of like buying new ones.
For sure.
And I don't think I've worn a pair of Converse in at least 2 years.
It's probably been about that for me as well, I think.
And when I say Converse, I mean like Converse All-Star. I know that they make other different silhouettes and stuff, but when we're talking about like the All-Star, the Chuck Taylor 70s, those kind of things.
The classics, basically.
That's the classic sort of
the
things.
legendary one from them. Like what they're most known for. Like, you know, when you talk about Jordan, it's like the Jordan 1 or whatever. It's sort of the same thing with Converse. You're like, whenever I hear that word, I just think like, oh, Chucks. Like I don't really sort of see anything else. Like have a mate who loves Converse and has like 12 of their different shoes and stuff, and I've never heard of any of them. But
Speaking of Jordan 1s, you've still got one sitting right there, which has been heavily featured on your Instagram. And by the way, you will be able to see Jonny's Instagram in the description below. If you do want to follow him, you can have a look at this shoe in a little bit extra detail. I'll post a video up now. But you've got the.
I'm obsessed.
You take it away. I don't want to spoil what you're going to say.
These are just my favorite. Ever, the Air Jordan 1 Rebellion Airs. So to sort of celebrate, you know, Jordan being having those banned in the NBA or his sneakers at the first time, being fined every single game for wearing them. So it's sort of an homage to that with the mad touch on the back, the red X, because like, you know, the rest of the shoes, different shades of grey, black in parts, and then just the red just really pops out, and it's just perfect on the heel of it. So.
And what is the actual text? Like, what does it say? Like, I'm trying to look nice and close.
Remember.
It's like
they can't
stop you from wearing them.
I think that's what it was.
It's like a text kind of in a graffiti style, so it's a little bit hard to read, but it's like they can't stop you from wearing them. I'm sure someone in the comments knows what this actually says.
I'm pretty sure they can't stop me from wearing them, which was from one of the first Jordan press conference or Michael Jordan press conferences after a game. Like the first few times he got fined for the shoes. So they were like, well, how come you keep wearing them if they're banned? And then he was like, they can't stop me from wearing them. So I think that's why they put that on there. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was, because I love this. I love these shoes. And I'm glad I got them when I did, because I got them for relatively cheap, like 400 Australian, which isn't bad for, you know, a Jordan sneaker that just dropped. I got it the same week from Kicks TW, that store. I don't know if you've bought from there. No,
I haven't, no.
Oh, they're a great store, man. They've got a physical store in Melbourne too, which is pretty rad. But they always get, you know, like whatever the latest sneakers are, they would always get them in. So.
Right. No, and they're kind of that new school cut as well. Some people, they're not quite like the 85 cut on them, but I really like that. They're very nice. And you've got another pair of Jordans there as well. You got the Georgetown threes. Threes, like they're kind of my favorite Jordans. I've said that a lot, but these are
I think they're very, very best nice. Jordan. They're up there with that and the Jordan 1 for me. I just love the Jordan 1. I'm a tall guy, so it looks decent having the high tops on. So that's rad. But otherwise, these, because the comfort on you know these is just it's mind blowing, man. It's like walking on a cloud. It's crazy.
You got the kind of old school elephant print there. I've seen a lot of you know, the people who look at new shoes, like even the white reimagine, the blacks reimagines from last year, they had that kind of muted elephant print. Do you prefer this kind of really, really deep indented dark elephant print?
No, I do. That's sort of what made me get these, as well as Georgetown. I'm a massive Allen Iverson fan. I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan, but he's still the greatest, even though he's from, you know, Philly. So like I would always remember, like if I would rock out a fit and I just was in an Iverson mood, I would always go to Georgetown's on the feet. And then I got a sick Allen Iverson tee. And then another Georgetown hat, which I scoured eBay for specifically to match with the sneakers. And there was only one person I know or who I saw that time who like was able to notice, like, oh, Georgetown, dude, you're matching. But it was still worth it for me. So
nice. And I love the like old school leather as well. It's kind of I feel that the way that the leather that was made on this kind, like, what year was this from? If you remember.
It was a few years ago. I think maybe 2022.
Okay. I just feel that just looking at it, the premium nature of the leather kind of really shows through with age. I feel that sometimes other shoes that aren't so premium, but they're using leather and it's lower grade, over the years it tends to kind of fade away a little bit. And
100%.
And crack easily. Where I feel like
these have aged, because I've also worn these like thousands of times, so they're like aging pretty well, as well as dealing with the wear and tear of wearing a sneaker. Like even the toe box doesn't seem that creased. Yeah. Like I don't really care about having creases. Bit, on the toe box, but at least for this one, it's like when it comes to how much I've worn them, that's a pretty minimal toe crease. Like still visible, but I've seen a lot worse from a lot less wears. On Jordans and stuff. So Jordan 3s are...
So 1s and 3s are kind of your go-tos.
Yeah.
Are you still into 4s at all?
Yeah, I haven't gotten the pair in a while.
Yeah.
But I keep forgetting that there's a collab that's coming out in
the Undefeateds?
Yes, the Undefeated. Yeah.
That's going to be tough to get.
Yeah.
The all olive Undefeated 4s retroing again, continuing the trend of the retroing almost grail level sneakers that Nike's doing.
Yeah, 100%.
I guess I could ask you about that. What are your thoughts on like Nike bringing back even like the Galaxies, the bread bread ones, like all of that? You love bringing back everything. Yeah,
I don't care. Well, it's because it's like I'm not a man of all the money, so it's like I can't spend thousands of dollars on a pair of shoes or whatever. It's just not. It's not smart. I don't think it's intelligent. Like, I get you can sell it later on, but I don't really buy sneakers with the intention to sell them later on. Like, I just buy them to wear them, and I'll wear them until I either destroy them or I don't care about them anymore or whatever. So, but I was real happy they did the black cement 3s. Yeah. They brought those back out because those were a grail for me just because every time I tried to get them, that no one had my size. Yeah. And I just couldn't find them anywhere for a decent price. There was some online, but it was always too expensive. So, no, I'm a big fan of bring everything back. I don't care.
Okay.
Bring it all back.
Fair enough. They're also, obviously bringing back like, the Tom Sachs shoes. Like,
those I'm not a massive fan of those myself, but I've got quite a few friends who just would die for those. So I was like, those will do incredibly well.
And I think Nike has, like, just specifically speaking about Nike, they have that, obviously the retro appeal of the old Jordans, but then they're also trying, like we just literally spoke about the DN8s. And I like that they're trying a new thing, even if it doesn't like work. Oh, in our opinion. Sure. It will sell well because it's Nike, but it probably won't sell as well as they thought. Yeah. I do appreciate them trying new things, and that's always what we're kind of asking.
I never want them to stop that. Because it's like even if they're just re-releasing the same colorways, like, once every 2 or 3 years or whatever, it's like, it's cool at first because you haven't got them, but then when you've got them, you're like, cool, I got these 3 years ago. Yeah. Like, I don't need it. So always think of stuff new. It's always rad to see new designs, even if I absolutely hate it. I haven't hated anything I've seen. Like the DN8s are okay. I just don't like the bubbles on the bottom. Yeah. That's the only thing. Yeah. I'd probably still rock a pair if I was seeing a nice like bread colorway, black red, that are pretty gorgeous. And I showed them to the missus, and she was like, "Johnny, these look like every single other shoe you have. Why do you want these?" And I was like, "But it's my favorite colorway, man. Like, I just have to have it." So I'll probably end up getting those. Yeah.
But just wait like 6 months and they'll go on sale.
Like, exactly.
With the amount of colorways that they're pushing out, and I even like went into like Hype DC, which in Australia is kind of like I don't know how to describe it. I can't really think of a sort of parallel store in the US, but it's like not a low end.
The US have Culture Kings now. It's sort of like that.
It's sort of like Culture Kings, but a little bit less hypey. Yeah. And they have the DN8s, and I spoke to someone in that store, and they were like, "We haven't sold a pair of these in like 2 months, and they've had them for 3 months." Like, so there was an initial push, but I reckon if you wait 6 months,
100%,
they will, like, come the Boxing Day, Black Friday sales, you're going to see the DN8s flying off shelves because they're going to be half price, 40% off. Because
exactly.
They've obviously got so much stock and they're not moving.
Yeah, that's the only sort of smart thing for them to as a company, because they don't really care about the sneaker sales, like in terms of like what silhouette's selling. That's what Nike focuses on. But a store owner for Hype isn't going to really care about that, so they'll be like, let's just get this out of our warehouse.
They're trying to move stock. That's kind of what they're trying to do, and they're trying to move it. And I even saw like it's mid-season, so to speak. In Australia, we're kind of moving from summer into winter. So, and
I'm
as
so
I say
excited.
that,
I hate summer, man.
as I say that, we get a nice cool breeze.
Yeah,
as you can see,
it's gotten it's lovely right now.
It's gotten a little bit darker, so hopefully the camera's still picking us up well. But yeah, we are transitioning, and I'm seeing the kind of mid-season sale come along.
Yeah.
I actually picked up like a pair of Sauconys that were like 65% off.
Damn,
so like
that's decent.
Some of those, and it was like $100. So you think it was like $280 retail,
man,
and I was like,
that's rad. That's a steal, man.
So those kind of mid-season sales that pop up, like if you're patient enough, you can find those sort of sneakers.
Yeah, exactly.
So speaking of like Saucony and those kind of brands, which we have spoken about before, are you into anything else? Obviously, you've got your TNs, you've got your Jordans.
Yeah, I like quite a lot. I just don't have quite a lot. Like even when it comes to me for buying sneakers, I'm still like pretty picky. So there's a ton I like that I just won't buy because I'm like, I'd rather spend the money on XYZ or whatever. But yeah, I do like the Saucony ones. And I was just thinking of another brand
like
too.
Asics, New Balance.
Asics, good. New Balance. That's what I was gonna say. I love New Balance. That's also. I remember the first time I put a New Balance on, I was like, this is a whole new level of comfort. I remember like just constantly messaging or texting my girlfriend being like, hey, these are great. She's like, yeah, you said that yesterday. I was like, no, but these are, dude, you got to try these. Yeah.
I do say that, and you're speaking of like your partner. I do often get clowned a little bit when I put them on. I'm like, but look at the little midsole part. Like, so that part was different from the other one, and she's like, they look the same to me. Like the 99, like I tried to show the difference between the like there was like a Jound collab where they did 991, 992, 993, and they're all the same colors. And I was like, tell me the difference. Is this a different shoe or is this the same? She's like, no, it's the same shoe. And I'm like, nope, it's 3 different ones. So that's kind of, I guess, speaks to the niche aspect of shoes that we enjoy.
Yeah, and my partner, she like loves sneakers. Like she's massive in the TNs as well. So we always, try to do like his and hers posts. I don't know if you see them on my Instagram. I do them every now and then. But even then, she's just like, Johnny, you got to stop buying the same colors and different, different styles. And I was like, no, it's like it's a different style. It's a different thing. Exactly. Yeah. I was like, and I got a good mate who I'll hook you up with because I reckon he'd do a good podcast for you too. Dave, I used to work with him at Australia Post when I worked there, and he's like my go-to for like anything sneaker related. If I need information about something, it's him because he's like in his 40s, and I think he's been collecting since he was like a young kid. So he's got a ton of silhouettes from ages ago, and he's a real nice guy too. So that's always rad.
Nice.
It's awesome to have a mate who does it. Like he's cool because I'm relatively new to sneakers, like probably the last 6-7 years. Roughly about then. So it's just rad that he doesn't, care that I'm like relatively new to the sneaker scene. If he's happy for me to just bounce off a million questions.
I mean, that's not that new. Like I feel like 6-7 years. That's pre-COVID. A lot of people.
That's true.
I mean, even people I've spoken to, they started their YouTube channels or they started their Instagram kind of passion for it in terms of content creation. They started it during COVID.
That
was kind of the time 2020 where everyone was kind
everything
of everything
boomed.
And the dunks were obviously a huge thing.
Massive.
Asics started to kick off, and that kind of started a lot of people's love for sneakers. And so a lot of people don't remember. Like even myself, like this is literally like personal experience. I've really only been into sneakers. I was into fashion before, but like not into sneakers until roughly 2020. Well, on some of the first interview kind of podcasts, I like to chat about some of the like grails or sneakers that you're kind of always on the lookout for, whether it be to actually buy or even to just like appreciate. Like there are shoes that we're never going to get. Like there's certain shoes that you also you can appreciate, but you're never going to have. Or you can appreciate and never actually, I suppose, wear on feet. What are those kind of shoes for you?
So the number one that comes on my head, I just love is just the Air Jordan 1 Dior. Just like I love those, and like I'm not like a massive like a big like fashion brand guy. Like I don't really care about Dior or whatever. I just like the way they look with the logo, but with how much they cost, I just know I'm never gonna get them. Same with the Louis V Air Maxes that dropped in the different colors. Those all look sick, but and they're also not shoes that I could like see myself wearing. You know what I mean? Like I look at them, but like I know a lot of sneakerheads and stuff buy sneakers and put them in the case just to look at. But it's like I won't buy it unless I know I'm gonna wear it.
It's your DJ Khaled type of sneakerheads. Those kind of guys.
Oh yeah.
Those kind of guys who have those shoes and never actually wear them, or even if they do wear them, they're okay with wearing them because they can afford to buy other shoes.
Yeah, exactly. We should have done him, bought pillows for our sneakers like he does at NBA games. Have you seen him with?
No, I haven't.
He keeps his sneakers on the pillow, like when he's like, because he's always courtside at an NBA game, and he's just got them in there. It's hilarious.
I can't stand DJ Khaled. I'm sorry. He's kind of like that.
Another one.
He's one of those like new schools sneakerheads. I don't know. Like I'm sure he's got kicks that he's passionate about them, but I don't know. I just don't see it. It's kind of like people had that debate whether or not Lil Yachty was he a real sneakerhead, because he keeps clowning on all these old school colorways and old school brands.
Yeah.
And there was like that big thing at like Complex Con with him and Beamer Williams, where they were like shouting at each other across the room from at Complex Con. Like you're not a real sneakerhead. Like he doesn't have the history. I suppose that's a conversation where people could be like, are you a real sneakerhead if you don't have OG Jordan, like every OG Jordan pair,
No, I think that's stupid. That's the same with like all this hate that the Pandas get. I was like, Pandas look sick, dude. They're black and white. They're like my partner's favorite sneakers, and every time she wears them, she looks like 11 out of 10. Yeah. So like, I was like, no, they're rad, and they go with so many different outfits. I don't get the whole hate. It's like, oh, lots of people have them. It's like,
I think it's
cool, dude.
It's the perfect sneaker for just the Panda Dunks I was talking about. They are the perfect sneaker for people who want to get into it.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about before with the 2020 kind of COVID pandemic, where everyone kind of created had an opportunity to create a different kind of identity, and some people got into sneakers, and that was kind of a gateway.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a good gateway shoe.
Yeah. So you can move from your regular shoe to a
and then just get a bit like, you like got a bit like, everyone looks at them as like, oh, they're Pandas, but still you got Nike on your foot, so you can still flex on people who have Adidas or whatever the argument is about that. But so it's a good sort of gateway shoe because it helps them sort of it's like dipping your toes in the pool before you jump in. It's a good way to sort of feel out the sneaker market. That's true. And then if it's for you, then it's like, cool, you'll buy others. If it's not, then it's like, cool, you got your Pandas, you got shoes to chill out in, walk around in.
Fair enough.
That fit everything, so it's a win-win, you know what I mean? So
I do, yeah. You spoke about the Dior's before, the Jordan 1 Dior's, that's like your kind of biggest one.
Yeah.
I feel that's one of those shoes that if you were to get one, like legit pair, people would just assume that they're fakes.
Exactly, yeah.
Like it's one of those, that too. It's one of those ones sort of in the same vein as like the Off-White like 4s. Yeah. Like Off-White 4s, like the sale pair.
Anything Off-White, man.
Anything Off-White, I feel that if you get it, and whether it's right or not, like people get annoyed, like, oh, I legit bought these on for retail or even resell. People would pay that amount, and then people were just gonna be like, oh, you got fakes on.
Yeah, exactly. And then, it would be irritating. But ultimately, I'd be like, just you got to walk around with the receipt in your
keep the StockX tag.
Yeah, exactly. Keep all those tags on there. Make sure you got your receipts. So if anyone gives you like a bit of a sus eye when you're out, you can be like, they're legit, dude.
But then also, I feel that 99% of people when you're out and about would not even know what you're wearing.
100%. Yeah, that's the other thing. There's been so many times where I've gone out being like, oh yeah, I got some heat on. I was like, so many people are going to think I'm so cool, and then I'm just walking around and like,
no one cares.
Just no one looks. Yeah. And I'm just like, whatever. I like it.
I speak to people who I sometimes ask them just out of interest, like, why are you wearing these? Like, what's your kind of thought process? I know sneakerheads kind of have a thought process around wearing a pair, whether or not you're going to post it for that day, or you're just like, I love the comfort, or I love the look of it, it's working with the fit. And I was like asking people, why are you wearing them? And they're just I like the comfort. And then others are just like, I just like the look. And they were actually very uncomfortable. They legitimately said, I don't like wearing these for the comfort, I only like it for the look. It's kind of like women wearing, I suppose, high heels. They like it for the look. And to me, that's kind of baffling, because you can get comfortable shoes that look good. Yeah,
exactly.
If you just look a little bit harder.
Anyone who wears high heels, I feel poorly sorry for. I just look at it and it hurts. I just feel like I would be snapping. I always roll my ankle anyway, so just if I ever had to, for whatever reason, not going to. But if I ever had to wear high heels, it'd be a mess.
Yeah. Well, you were speaking about Grails, and you actually off camera asked me about what I think as a Grail, and that's actually something I haven't really thought about too much.
True.
It's not really something that I'm kind of always excited about what's new or what what is a classic. a lot of the times people consider Grails as like collaborations, like the Dior's
Yeah.
that are almost unobtainable. A Grail, I think a Grail, in the purest term, is like a shoe that you always wanted, but if you can get that, is it a Grail?
Yeah, see, I wouldn't say it is.
Yeah, okay.
Because that's funny you bring that up, because I've thought about that. I'm like, yeah, like, Grails to me are exactly everything you said, but also just, like, unattainable. You know what I mean? Like, something you're always sort of looking to. Yeah. And it's like, just getting the Holy Grail. You're like, you get them and you're like, cool, I can die happy. Like, my sneakerhead life is over. This is cool. So, yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's not true. If you have a sneakerhead... if you have that mentality and I get a shoe that I'm like, amount of times I get a shoe and I'm like, oh yes, I'm happy. Yeah. And then, what was that coming out next week? Well, I might have a look at that one.
Yeah, you spend 5 minutes on Instagram and you're just like, this one. No.
Yeah, that one. Oh, but then you come back another 10 minutes later, you're like, oh, actually that one as well.
Yeah, that's one too, yeah.
So there's a little bit of that, like I get what I want and then I suppose I want more.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's always the way.
Which I think... maybe you could talk about a little bit. Is there kind of I suppose, overconsumption of sneakers, especially in 2025, where I feel like we've had a huge amount of releases, like
we have
a huge amount of heat just dropping, and I feel like it's a little bit oversaturated, and people are kind of,
I think it is,
always focused on what's next. Even like I follow and kind of, I suppose, friends with a guy named Aaron Diaz on Instagram. His name's Front Page Aaron, and he speaks about that in kind of a video essay style. And he is a big exponent of just like when he says Grail, he says a shoe. He just talks about a shoe that he thinks is one of his favorite shoes. He doesn't consider them as like unattainable
that makes sense
ones.
Too. Yeah.
So there's different definitions, I think, for that.
Yeah, well, for me personally, it's just unattainable ones. Like, even if I had the money to get like the Dior's, I would never spend that much money on a sneaker. Yeah. Like, unless my son wants it, and if he's like, it's the greatest shoe ever to him, then it'd be like, cool, I'd spend that on him, obviously, but like not for myself. Yeah. Or the missus, I'd buy it for her, but I wouldn't. Yeah. I'd be like, yeah, cool, I can afford that, and it's nice. But I just know as soon as I buy it, I'll be like, I should have spent that $14,000 on something else. Yeah, I could have got so much KFC for that. Like, what are you doing?
$14,000.
Yeah, exactly.
That's probably where we're at. And and again, that kind of, I suppose, huge high level of sneakers is something that we, as I guess mere mortals, not DJ Khaled level, will probably never see. But if I suppose if you're going to really press me about Grails, for me, I'm going to say. One that I saw was the Union Jordan 4s, the Guava pair. Oh, yeah. I think for me, that's a shoe that is almost unobtainable because of the price point now on resale, but I just love the way it looks. I'm not the biggest 4s fan, but I do love the way that shoe looks. The kind of chunky, the kind of blue and the pinky. Obviously, it's like called the Guava shoe colorway for a reason, but I do love that
gorgeous.
pair.
That's one of those. Like, I know you love like loud shoes. Yeah. I'm not really a loud shoe kind of guy. Like, all I wear is black. So it's like loud to me is just wearing something white. Yeah. So, but that shoe, I'm pretty sure I sent them to the partner and I was like, babe, look at these. Yeah. And she was like, you'll never wear them. I was like, yeah, I know, but look at them. Yeah. It was just gorgeous.
There's pairs like that released, I'm not sure exactly when they, like, I think it was like 2018. And it's kind of like, I kind of wish I was into sneakers back then. Like, there's so many pairs that like guys perhaps on Instagram who like they're a little bit older, they're in their late 30s, early 40s, and they're like they've got this sick collection, but they've been doing it like as an adult for longer. Even if you were a teenager and you were into sneakers, there's no way you're going to get a pair of those because even what we consider now as a regular sort of price, even like I don't know $250 for a new pair of TNs. As a teenager, you're like, I got to save up for like a whole 2 months for that.
That's forever. Yeah.
So I think that. I guess the envy, I suppose, of some people's sneaker collections can kind of get the best of you sometimes.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, like if I ever go, like when I would work like in the office before it was all work from home after COVID, and I saw like a mate, with like a nice pair of sneakers on, I'd be like, that's nice, what I've got on. I need to buy them, or just buy something that I think just looks cooler, and then I'd be like, I got to stop buying stuff just to like outdo in my mind somebody else what they're wearing. So yeah.
Nice. Well, there's so many sneakers. Even now, like we're talking about sneakers from 6-7 years ago. We're talking about sneakers that are released in 2025. I can just think of a couple that I think are going to reach that kind of grail status. So I guess I wanted to ask you, what have been some of your favorite shoes that have come out so far in 2025?
Yeah, well, it's funny you brought them up before, but I like the Lil Yachty Concrete Boys collab that came out.
Okay.
But I'm also a massive Lil Yachty fan. I think I'm 100% biased, and it just destroys me that a ticket to see him in Brisbane in a couple months is like $250. I was like, I'm not going to spend something exorbitant like that just for a few hours of a concert.
Yeah.
Like, it's him and Tyler, the creator, which is rad, but So I really like those. I was so envious when he went live on Instagram a few days ago and was like, I'm in New York. I'm on this street. If you're these sizes come, I got shoes for you. Yeah. And I was like, man.
Yeah. That's the life of an Australian sneakerhead. You see all these cool releases in New York and LA.
Everywhere else, and it is what it is. It's heartbreaking.
Anything else from this year?
I'm trying to the black cement, the retros that they brought out, because I loved that pair. That was also like something I considered a grail, and now that I can get, I'm just stoked on. So those as well. There was forgetting the name of the TNs that came out, but they were that are coming out. They haven't come out yet, but they've got like lightning over like the whole shoe, so it's like a picture, kind of like
I'll have to
volcanoes look like, just with the way that pattern is. It's sort of that, but just imagine sort of lightning strikes.
I'll have to get a photo and chuck it up later, so we kind of know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I've got one, so I'll send it to you. But No,
nice.
So that one's sick. I forget what they call them.
Yeah,
but there's a few TNs coming out that I'm excited for. So hopefully we'll be able to grab. And there was a New Balance one coming out too, but I can't remember what
in the future, or it already has come out?
In the future, that's coming out, I think, in 2 or 3 months.
Right.
But I'll find it and I'll message you later. So if you want to pop something.
No, all good. All good.
Yeah.
There's been
what it is. I've got a horrible memory.
There's been so many, it's almost hard to count.
It is, yeah.
I feel like I've bought some shoes almost as a consolation prize because I've missed out on some.
Yeah.
Like I've missed out on like the Kith kind of pairs from New Balance.
Yeah.
I didn't get those, and then they popped up as like they threw up the Easter egg shoes, Easter pack shoes, and I was like, I'm just going to get them because I couldn't get the other pairs. There's been a few ones like that. Like some people couldn't get the bread 85, so they're like, I'm going to settle for the Black Toe Reimagined, like those kind of shoes.
Exactly.
Those Jordan 1s, like that's been a little bit of the theme. There's been so many, but like it's for different price points or like different type of. I suppose that's one thing Nike and Jordan have done well, is moving. Like they released the huge hyped up shoes like the Brick by Bricks or the 85 breads, but then they also release a lot of like shoes that are pretty obtainable, like the Black Cement 3s.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's something Nike's done well, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like I like Travis Scott, I'm a fan, but like I don't have any of his sneakers. I would love a pair because I think everyone that comes out just looks rad, especially the black ones that just came out that are sort of all black. I forget what they're called.
Is that the Phantom pairs?
Phantom, that's it. Thank you. Yeah, the Phantoms are sick. And I also like the old ones, the blue and white ones that, again, forgetting everything, forgetting what those ones are called.
I can't remember the exact name.
Oh, the Fragment.
The Fragment collaboration, the triple collab, with Nike. And I think that they're also releasing another one of those later on in the year with Fragment. It's like it's like mostly white with the blue tick.
I saw that. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that. I didn't like that.
Fair enough. A little bit too white for you.
Yeah, exactly. I was, anything. Well, yeah.
You're going to get those so dirty. I think that's
I know, exactly. That's the thing. That's why it's like, you see everyone being like, I wear clean Air Forces once.
Yeah.
And it was like, I remember making fun of my friend at work because she had Air Forces on. They were just like,
cooked.
So dirty, man. I was getting angry at her. I like threw those, sneaker white clean things out there. Like, clean your sneakers. What are you doing?
Bit of a meme.
That's I was like, that's so nasty to your sneakers. Take care of them.
Yeah.
And then just like one wipe across, it just cleaned everything off. And I was like, see how good that looks.
Yeah. Nice. That's a bit of a meme, having the dirty Air Force ones.
It hurts, man.
Yeah.
Like, wear whatever you want. I don't really judge people for whatever they want to do. Everyone can do whatever the hell they want. I don't give a shit. Unless you're hurting someone, then it's whatever. But won't get into that. But I'm just clean your sneakers. Like, I know it's funny for me to say it because the ones I brought are all dirty as hell and I haven't cleaned them. But like that, they're not at the point where I'd be like, I wouldn't consider them turn my nose up at someone. No,
I wouldn't consider them too dirty. But I think it's almost therapeutic sometimes cleaning your sneakers. It's almost like a reset.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean.
Like cleaning these is always nice because these it gets dirty a lot. Like along here, I think just the fabric is sort of makes it stick. So when you just have that that first wipe across and just seeing it shine back at you, oh, it's so satisfying.
Very nice. I think if anyone who wasn't into sneakers listened to this, they'd just be shaking their head.
100%.
I definitely appreciate people who would be listening to this who do actually enjoy what we're saying, and I'm really appreciative if you've even made it this far in the video. Thank you so much. I think that we've covered a lot. We've covered
we have. It's been a good chat.
Grail sneakers, your kind of shoes that you're wearing now, the ones that you've into, kind of your passion for sneakers, which is clearly evident. So
love them.
Really do appreciate it. And I think you're a good example of someone who may not have every single sneaker, but can appreciate a lot of sneakers.
100%, yeah.
Like, as a kind of, middle class Australian kind of, we can't get every sneaker that you see on Instagram. Like,
but if I see someone wearing them, I might do hell yeah. Like, and if I can see them, I'll try and do a little eyebrow nod, even if they have no idea what I'm talking about. It's still just like they're like, okay, yeah, whatever.
Actually, speaking of that happened to me yesterday. Do you know that April skateboards?
Yeah.
Shane O'Neill. I saw a guy wearing them yesterday, and I looked down, and I was wearing the Action Bronson New Balances. The fluoro green baklava pair.
Those are gorgeous. Like, I'm not into like loud sneakers, but
they're super loud. They're the most loud sneakers I have. Anyway,
I love those. But I
looked at him and I said, "Oh, nice shoes, mate." And he's like, "Oh, you too." And it's a bit of like a kind of a if you know type of thing. And my wife was like, "Oh, I like those," and she's just like, she likes the colors. I was like, "Oh yeah, but they've got this history," and she's like, "Yeah, I don't care." Like, I don't care. I don't care about who made them, who collabed. I don't care. They just look nice. That's kind of, I suppose, the difference between myself and someone who's not really into sneakers.
I used to always see there was this one homeless dude who lives in the city. He always has like the cleanest TNs on. Don't know how he gets them. He probably racks them or whatever. But anytime he would see me, he would see my TNs if I was wearing them, and then we'd just give each other like a look, and I'd be like, I was like, "You're homeless, but dude, like, good on you." Like, hell yeah.
You could sell those and maybe.
Dude, I saw a homeless dude in Travis Scott, that olive colorway, and I was like, "Dude, what do you understand?" But then I was like, "Oh, they're probably fake." But it's also like, dude, sell your shoes. You can get. It's better than sleeping on the side of a street.
Yeah, it's tough. I think that we could chat for ages about maybe the difference between the like Travis Scott fakes and all that. Like,
for sure.
We spoke a little bit about even if you wore the Dior Jordans, a lot of people would consider them to be like, oh, they're fake. Like, I did see I saw someone the other day wearing a pair of Travis Scott lows, and I was like, oh, they're probably fake, just because of how young they were. I was they were like 16 years old, and I was like, there's no way that guy could afford that shoe that came out 6 years ago when he was 12. Anyway, there are certain circumstances where you're a little bit sus.
In like a few years, you'll be watching the news and they'll be like, "Oh, Australia's newest billionaire," and you look and you'll see it's that kid, and he'll be in like whatever the latest Travis Scott is.
Yeah, fair enough.
And he'd be like, "A best foot forward shoes." I know you spoke about me in that podcast you did with that crazy other weird tattooed dude, and he's like, "I'm coming for you. It's gonna happen, man."
You should put that in your bio. Weird, crazy tattooed dude.
I think all my friends will look at it and be like, "Yeah, duh, we know that."
Yeah, we know that. Yeah, exactly. Well, again, if you do want to have a look at Johnny's bio, you can have a look at his Instagram down below and go check him out, give him a follow, go check out his stories and all his posts about his sneakers, which we've kind of profiled a little bit here today. But just wanted to wrap it up and say thank you to everyone for watching. Thank you so much to Johnny for coming on.
Mate. It was a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
It's fun coming out here. Again, beautiful weather. Hopefully, this cool weather continues. We're loving that in Brisbane. You said you hate summer. I also hate summer. I'm sure people on Instagram and YouTube are sick and tired of seeing my exposed legs.
Exactly.
And yourself as well. So I kind of want to wear some pants just to break it up a little bit, because it has been a very...
I'm the same. Like, went out for a fancy dinner the other night, wore jeans, and I was like, this is so nice. Then my girl was like, "Aren't you hot?" And I was like, "I'm sweating, but it's nice." It's
been a hard, long, and hot summer. So enjoy that, everyone in the US and the UK who are about to head into that summer. But we will sign off for today. Thank you so much again for everybody for watching. Have a good day.